Today we are in Amsterdam visiting one Michelin star, the Duchess, inside the W Hotel. The dining room is very much decorated from the Belle Epoque period, and Canadian-born chef Jeffrey Graff is cooking food here inspired from the south of France. The restaurant has one Michelin star, and this is something that is a question mark for me on many of the dishes that were presented this evening. The menu is extensive, and we ordered a few different snacks to share and then had the beef Wellington as the main course. The bread serving consisted of a brioche bun and some grated marinated tomatoes and a hot green pepper. This was pleasant enough, but no refill was made on the bread throughout the evening. Beef tartare with smoked eel and grated truffle was served on a toasted brioche bun. Now, this tasted very good, but I couldn't really sense either the truffle or the smoked eel. Then came the foie gras donuts with a raspberry jam on top and a lot of powdered sugar. Now there were some technical issues here, so the donut was freshly fried, and after they fried it they probably put the foie gras mousse into it, but the donut being really hot made so the foie gras mousse had split a little bit and it was difficult to eat. I also thought that this dish was far too sweet, having the raspberry jam and the powdered sugar there. It just gave too much sweetness and it wasn't a good balance at all. After that came the baked scallop in its shell together with some different mushrooms and a hollandaise sauce. The scallop itself had been baked a little bit too long and was a little bit chewy, but otherwise the mushrooms and the hollandaise sauce that was a little bit baked was a pleasant flavor to eat. Then came the main course, the dish that we have been waiting for the whole evening, the beef Wellington in a one Michelin star restaurant. Starting from a visual standpoint, I've asked for medium rare, and I can see that the meat was a little bit underdone. Now, using the fillet meat here, that isn't a big issue for me, so I didn't send it back and was happy with the cooking anyway. Otherwise it looked pleasant enough, and it was served together with a truffle mash and some broccolini as side dishes we ordered. I think my expectations on this dish was a little bit too high, but that's what you're expecting when you are in a one Michelin star restaurant. So the dish was good, it was actually very pleasant to eat, but I was expecting a little bit more here on both the execution on how the dish looked and the depth of flavor. Ending the meal with a classic creme brulee and a salted caramel ice cream. It looked a little bit rustic when the plate entered, but this plate delivered on flavor on a very high note. It was one of the best creme brulees I've ever tasted in my whole life. Salted caramel ice cream lifted it and made it a little bit lighter to eat, and a cookie crumb underneath it was just pleasant and gave some additional texture. This was a really good dish to end our meal with. So how do I summarize my meal at the Duchess in Amsterdam? Well, I think that the expectation I had moving into this restaurant with a one Michelin star rating gave me the wrong platform to stand on when judging the food that came in. If you would compare this restaurant to, let's say, Ritz in London, they are miles away when it comes to the execution of food, and this is what I don't get sometimes with the Michelin guide, how they can rate the food according to the 1, 2 and 3 star status and yet be so far from each other when it comes to the actual quality of the food. I'm scoring the food here at 84 points. It's good, but it's not great. The service was attentive and professional, and I enjoyed that a lot, so I'm putting my score here on 85 points for the service. And lastly, the value rating. I'm putting that at the same score as the food on 84 points. It's good, but it's not great value, and the prices were a little bit stiff on some of the courses. Alright guys, that summarized this restaurant review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope also to see you next time. Bye bye.